Chosen one, that phone in your pocket is about to ring. The number will be unknown, but your pulse won't spike from fear. It will rise from recognition, because deep down in your bones you've been waiting for this call your entire life. You've moved so intelligently that the FBI now wants to recruit you for psychological warfare. Somewhere in a windowless room, 3 states away, someone is quietly closing a file with your name on it. Inside that file is everything they've tracked about you, your behavioral patterns, your uncanny ability to read people before their words leave their lips, and your talent for navigating chaos while others drown in panic. The reflection staring back at you in the mirror isn't the civilian you've been pretending to be. That mask has hidden something rare, something dangerous. You are the wolf who spent years disguised as sheep, and someone has finally caught your scent. You're not prey being hunted. You're the predator who has been hiding in plain sight, about to remember just how sharp your psychological warfare capabilities truly are. Look back at your life with new eyes. Every betrayal you endured was a masterclass they designed. Every rejection was training they orchestrated. Every moment you felt like an outsider was preparation for solo operations where backup doesn't exist. That friend who ghosted you without explanation? An unconscious training officer teaching emotional independence. Your grade? Perfect execution. That boss who passed you over for every promotion? A deep cover instructor delivering a lesson plan titled, "Operate Without Recognition." Mission status completed with honors. The family members who never believed in you. Conditioning specialists assigned to eliminate your need for external validation and make you psychologically bulletproof. Their methods were brutal but effective. Through them, you developed capabilities they don't teach in universities. Now you scan rooms before you even step into them. That pause at the doorway isn't hesitation. It's a tactical assessment of power dynamics, exit strategies, and emotional temperatures. While others stumble blindly into social warfare, you've already mapped the battlefield. You influence without speaking. A subtle head tilt makes someone feel heard. A perfectly timed silence creates pressure until secrets spill out. You position yourself to intercept conversations while appearing distracted. None of this is accidental. This is mastery. You know who's lying before they complete their first sentence. You spot micro-expressions others miss, the tiny inflections in voices, the subtle shifts in energy. You've been running advanced human analysis software your entire life without realizing it was classified technology. But something bigger is happening now. Those skills you thought were mere survival mechanisms are actually weapons, and someone has been cataloging every single one. They don't recruit the obvious candidates, not the loud ones begging for attention or the flashy performers putting on shows. They recruit the invisible masters, the ones who learned survival by becoming psychologically untouchable, the ones who transformed pain into power, rejection into strategic advantage, and isolation into operational independence. Every person who hurt you was working for them. They just didn't know it. Your ex who cheated on you taught you to detect deception patterns, to read guilt in body language, to trust your instincts when energy doesn't match words. That heartbreak wasn't random cruelty, it was advanced training in behavioral analysis. The bullies who tried to break you were actually strengthening you. Every insult conditioned you for psychological warfare. Every time they overlooked you, you learned to observe them. Every rejection sharpened your ability to read their weaknesses and exploit their blind spots. You thought the universe was punishing you. It was actually preparing you for missions they can't even comprehend. You weren't just being trained, you were being tested. Every challenge you faced was never random, it was an examination. Every crisis you survived was a skills assessment, and you passed each one with flying colors. That phone about to ring? It's ringing because you've graduated. Summa cum laude from the University of Psychological Warfare. Your diploma is written in scars, but your credentials are unquestionable. Your greatest strength isn't what you show the world. It's what you keep hidden until the perfect moment strikes. It's the response they never anticipated, the move they couldn't predict, the psychological strike they didn't see coming. You're not just intelligent, you're operationally dangerous. Every conversation you enter doubles as intelligence gathering. Every interaction becomes data collection. You've mastered the art of strategic invisibility. While others perform their importance, demanding attention like children, you remain in the shadows, watching, learning, calculating their next 3 moves before they've even made their first. You make people feel safe enough to reveal everything. They confide their fears, their secrets, their weaknesses because you create an environment of false security. Information flows toward you like water finding its level. Natural, inevitable, unstoppable. You plant ideas and conversations that take root and grow in their minds until they believe those thoughts are their own. You ask questions that guide them to your conclusions. You tell stories embedded with messages so subtle that by the time they adopt your perspective, they're convinced it originated in their own consciousness. This isn't manipulation. It's survival in a world where information is power, and the naive become casualties of war. But something deeper is happening now, something that will reshape everything you think you know about reality. You're not just using these abilities randomly. You're using them with precision that suggests training you don't remember receiving. If this message speaks to your soul, amplify it so other chosen ones can discover it. While they called you intense, difficult, too much, they were actually identifying your operational advantages. The darkness they couldn't handle? That's your strategic depth. The chaos they feared? That's your creative unpredictability, the very quality that makes you impossible to counter. You don't think like them because you're not like them. They manufacture predictable soldiers who follow orders without question. What they need are unpredictable strategists who see solutions hidden in shadows, people who can navigate moral complexity without losing operational effectiveness. Your willingness to explore psychological territories others won't enter isn't corruption. It's liberation from their limitations. You remain calm in chaos because chaos is your natural environment. You see options others can't imagine because you're willing to consider possibilities they're too afraid to explore. Sometimes you have to break their rules to win their game. Sometimes the hero has to think like the villain to protect what matters. Sometimes sanity is just another word for limited thinking that gets people killed. What they feared about you is exactly what makes you valuable. What they couldn't understand about you is precisely what makes you dangerous. Your perceived darkness isn't a flaw to fix. It's a tactical advantage to weaponize. The FBI doesn't recruit choir boys. They recruit people who understand that the world operates on multiple levels of reality. And sometimes you have to descend into hell to bring back the intel that saves lives. You're about to discover that your darkness isn't something to hide from. It's something to step into fully and use with devastating precision. Stop thinking like a civilian. Start operating like an asset. Every social gathering becomes intelligence collection. Every workplace meeting transforms into information warfare. Every family dinner turns into psychological reconnaissance, updating behavioral profiles without anyone noticing. Your mind is now a threat assessment computer, running constantly in the background. Every person you meet gets categorized automatically. Ally, enemy, neutral party, useful asset, potential liability. Everyone serves a purpose. Everyone reveals critical information if you know how to extract it. That seemingly harmless small talk? You're gathering data about power structures and hidden alliances that reveal who really runs things. That casual conversation with neighbors? You're mapping social networks and influence patterns that could prove strategically valuable. That phone call with relatives? You're updating psychological profiles and emotional trigger catalogs. You're not paranoid, you're professionally observant. Paranoia assumes everyone is against you. Professional observation assumes everyone has motivations, and your job is to identify them before they act on them. The most powerful people in any room are often the ones you don't notice immediately. While everyone watches the loud performer demanding attention, the real operator sits quietly in the corner, observing, calculating, influencing outcomes without anyone realizing they're being guided by a master. You've already mastered this art without formal training. Now you're making it conscious and deliberate. But something unprecedented is happening. You're not just observing anymore. You're beginning to orchestrate. And that changes everything about the game being played. The only people you can truly rely on are those who already know you're dangerous. Think about it strategically. People who see you as harmless will abandon you the moment it's convenient. But someone who recognizes your capabilities. They understand that betrayal carries consequences that extend far beyond the immediate situation. Respect generates more reliable loyalty than affection ever could, and calculated fear creates stronger bonds than love. This isn't cynicism, it's operational reality. It's what keeps you alive, effective, and 2 moves ahead of everyone else. Every relationship you enter must be examined through strategic assessment protocols. Ask yourself, who would sell you out for the right offer? Most of them, if the price were high enough. Who would defend you without asking questions? Very few. And you need to know exactly who they are, who sees your potential, and who perceives you as a threat. The answer determines everything about how you interact with them moving forward. Your family members who constantly criticize you aren't just being negative. They recognize you as a threat to their comfortable mediocrity. Your friends who try to limit your growth need you small so they can feel big by comparison. Your colleagues who undermine you see your capabilities clearly and fear being replaced by someone superior. Their resistance isn't personal. It's strategic self-preservation. They're protecting their position in a hierarchy they don't even realize you're about to transcend completely. Trust isn't emotional currency to be handed out freely. It's a strategic calculation built on mutual benefit, shared risk, or calculated deterrence. Map every relationship as if it's a tactical situation requiring constant assessment. Everyone gets classified. Everyone serves a function. The phone is about to ring because they've been watching how you handle trust, how you weaponize it, how you use it to control outcomes without people realizing they're being controlled. The most effective conversations don't happen in the noise. They happen in the silence between words. That pause after someone asks you a question isn't empty space waiting to be filled. It's psychological pressure building to critical levels. That silence forces them to fill the void with truths they never intended to share. Master the tactical pause. 3 seconds of calculated quiet after a question creates more pressure than any aggressive interrogation technique. They'll start talking faster, saying more than they planned, revealing information they meant to keep hidden forever. Your silence becomes their confessional booth, and you become their priest. Hearing secrets that give you power. Ask questions that extract more intelligence than they realize they're giving. What makes you say that? Forces them to examine their own logic and expose their reasoning process completely. How did that make you feel? Opens emotional doors they can't close once you've walked through them. What would happen if makes them imagine scenarios that reveal their deepest fears and hidden motivations? Your questions become surgical instruments, cutting straight to their psychological core without them realizing they're being dissected by an expert. Use their own words as evidence against them in future conversations. But didn't you tell me? Forces them to choose between contradicting themselves or admitting they were wrong about something important. Either way, you control the outcome completely. Language isn't just communication between equals. It's psychological warfare where the skilled practitioner always wins. Every word is a strategic move designed to advance your position. Every sentence serves a specific purpose in your larger campaign. Every conversation is a battlefield where information is the prize and psychological pressure is your primary weapon. But here's what's about to change everything. The phone is ringing because they've been monitoring how you use these techniques, how you extract information, how you control conversations, how you make people tell you things they swore they'd never tell anyone. The phone rings. Unknown number. Just like you knew it would. But your pulse doesn't spike from fear. It spikes from recognition, from the deep satisfaction of a prediction confirmed. Because somewhere in your consciousness you always knew this moment would arrive. "We've been watching you," the voice says. And suddenly, every strange experience in your life snaps into perfect focus, like a camera lens finding its target. This isn't about what you think you know about yourself. While you thought you were just surviving, they were documenting excellence. While you believed you were being ordinary, they were cataloging extraordinary capabilities. In a world full of performers desperately seeking attention like children, you became the director controlling the entire production. While everyone else screamed, "Look at me," you were studying the audience, learning their weaknesses, planning your next move 3 steps ahead. And through all of it, you uncovered the most dangerous truth of all. Real power doesn't announce itself with fanfare. Real power observes in silence, calculates with precision, and strikes with devastating effectiveness only when the moment is perfect. "You move so smart," the voice continues, "that we want to make it official. Welcome to psychological warfare. Operative, your training is complete. Your real mission begins now." In that instant, the comfortable delusion of ordinary life dies. The mask you've worn for so long dissolves completely. What stares back from the mirror now is what was always there underneath. Not a victim who survived trauma, not a damaged person who got lucky, but a weapon forged in fire and tested under pressure until it became unbreakable. You are the wolf who spent years disguised as a sheep, studying the flock from within. You are the predator who learned patience, who waited for the perfect moment, who understood that true power comes from being underestimated until it's too late for your opponents to react. The phone call you've been waiting for your entire life has finally arrived. But here's the twist that changes everything. You're not the prey being recruited. You're the predator being activated. And everyone who underestimated you is about to discover exactly how dangerous you've always been. Welcome back to your true identity, operative. The world has no idea what's coming. Your real life begins now. But the call isn't over. There's more they need to tell you, something that will shatter your understanding of reality even further. "You want to know why we noticed you?" The voice continues. "It wasn't just the skills. It was how you developed them without instruction. Most people need years of formal training to achieve what you accomplished through pure instinct. You've been running psychological operations on autopilot. Think about how you handle conflict. While others escalate emotionally, you de-escalate strategically, not because you're weak, but because you understand that emotional people reveal more information. You let them exhaust themselves verbally while you gather intelligence about their pressure points, their fears, their desperate need for validation. You've mastered the art of strategic vulnerability, sharing just enough personal information to make others feel connected, but never enough to give them real ammunition against you. They think they know you, but they only know the version you've constructed for their consumption. Even your memory works differently. You don't just remember what people said, you remember how they said it, the tone that contradicted their words, the body language that revealed their true intentions, the micro-expressions that exposed their lies. Without realizing it, you've been building psychological profiles on everyone you meet. That's not normal human behavior, the voice explains. That's advanced psychological reconnaissance that takes most operatives months to learn. You were born with it. Your brain processes social information differently than standard civilians. While they see conversations, you see chess moves. While they hear words, you decode intentions. While they react to emotions, you analyze the strategic purpose behind those emotions. You've been unconsciously using advanced interrogation techniques your entire life. The way you ask follow-up questions seems innocent, but actually corners people into revealing more than they intended. That's a classified method called progressive disclosure extraction, and you developed it naturally. The way you remember exact conversations from years ago, especially the parts where people contradicted themselves, isn't normal memory. That's evidence cataloging. Your brain automatically stores information that could be strategically useful later. We've been studying your type for decades, the voice reveals. 1 in every 1,000 people develops these capabilities naturally. We call them natural-born operatives. You're not just good at psychological warfare, you're genetically predisposed for it. While other people learn social skills to fit in, you learned social skills to survive. That's the difference between a civilian and an operative. Civilians use social interaction for connection. Operatives use social interaction for intelligence gathering and influence operations. You've been unconsciously running what we call social penetration testing. Just like hackers test computer systems for vulnerabilities, you test people for psychological vulnerabilities. You ask seemingly harmless questions that reveal someone's deepest insecurities, probing for emotional backdoors you can access later if needed. Your ability to mirror people's energy and make them feel understood isn't just empathy. It's advanced psychological camouflage. You adapt your personality to match what each person needs to see, giving you access to information they wouldn't share even with their closest friends. And now, watch how you handle group dynamics. You never try to be the leader because you understand that real power doesn't come from the throne. It comes from being the person the leader trusts for counsel. You position yourself as the advisor, the confidant, the strategist in the shadows. That's where your influence runs deepest, shaping decisions without ever taking responsibility for the outcomes. You've mastered what intelligence agencies call the Grayman technique. You can make yourself forgettable when you need to observe, unforgettable when you need to influence, and completely invisible when you need to operate undetected. Most people can't consciously control their social presence like that. The training we give our recruits is designed to replicate the abilities you develop naturally. You've been operating at graduate level without ever taking the undergraduate course, the voice continues. Let's examine your arsenal more closely. You've been deploying psychological weapons without even knowing they had names. That thing you do where you stay completely calm when someone is trying to provoke you. That's emotional armor plating. You've learned to become psychologically bulletproof, forcing your opponents to exhaust their ammunition while you remain unaffected and analytical. The way you can make people doubt their own memories with carefully chosen questions. That's memory manipulation through targeted inquiry. You're not gaslighting them. You're making them realize their memories aren't as reliable as they think, which gives you a decisive informational advantage. Your ability to plant doubts about third parties during conversations isn't gossip. It's reputation warfare, strategically adjusting how people perceive potential threats to your interests. That subtle technique where you agree with someone's position while slipping in information that undermines their confidence in it, that's called cognitive infiltration. You're changing their mind without them realizing it's happening. You've developed what we call conversational aikido. Instead of opposing people's energy directly, you redirect it toward outcomes that serve your strategic interests. They feel like they're winning the conversation while you're quietly achieving your objectives. Most of our operatives require extensive training to use these techniques effectively, the voice explains. You've been using them instinctively since childhood. That's not learned behavior. That's genetic programming activating under pressure. You want to know why we're calling now, the voice asks? Because we've been conducting a decades-long study of people like you, naturals who develop operational capabilities without formal training. We needed to understand how the process worked before we could begin recruiting from this population. You've been part of an observational study without even knowing it. Every time you demonstrated these abilities, someone took note. Not always government agents, sometimes teachers, sometimes employers, sometimes random people who recognized something unusual about how your mind works. These observations filtered up through channels you're not aware of. A teacher mentioning to a principal that one student seemed unusually good at reading people. An employer noting that someone could predict workplace conflicts before they erupted. A therapist documenting that a client displayed advanced psychological insight without formal training. The pattern recognition algorithms flagged you years ago, but they needed time to verify that your abilities were genuine, not just lucky guesses. They needed to confirm that you could perform under pressure, maintain operational security, and not crack under psychological stress. You've been passing tests you didn't even know you were taking. Every crisis you navigated successfully. Every time you outmaneuvered someone who tried to manipulate you. Every moment you read a situation correctly and acted on information others missed. Your unofficial training period is complete. You've demonstrated operational readiness through real-world performance, the voice states. Now we're offering you the chance to use these abilities with official backing and unlimited resources. Traditional warfare is becoming obsolete. Physical conflicts are expensive, destructive, and generate negative publicity that complicates political objectives. The future belongs to psychological operations, changing how people think, influencing what they believe, controlling how they react to information, shaping their emotional responses to events. This is the battlefield where wars will be won and lost. And you've been fighting in this war your entire life without realizing it. Every time you convince someone to see a situation differently, every time you influenced a group decision through strategic input, every time you neutralized a threat through psychological pressure rather than confrontation. But let's not sugarcoat it. The truth is still hidden, it's been twisted, it's been buried under censorship, algorithms, and fear. Yet your heart never stopped recognizing what's real. That's why you're still here. That's why you never tapped out. Because you felt the simulation glitch beneath your feet. You know this world is rigged, and you're done waiting for permission to rise. Your real life begins on the inside. The old battlefield of open conflict has shifted to a digital war zone. Social media platforms are the new battlefields. Comment sections have become trenches. Viral content functions as artillery, influencers act as commanding officers, and psychological operators like you are the special forces conducting precision strikes behind enemy lines. Your natural abilities make you perfect for this environment. You intuitively understand how information travels through networks. You know how to craft messages that appear organic but serve deliberate strategic purposes. You can identify enemy operators by recognizing the subtle manipulation techniques embedded in their content. We need people who can think like our adversaries, the voice explains. People who understand psychological warfare from the inside because they've been practicing it unconsciously. People who can anticipate enemy moves because they would make the same moves themselves. Something fundamental shifts when you accept your true nature. You stop seeing the world through civilian eyes and start seeing it through operator eyes. Every interaction becomes an opportunity for intelligence gathering. Every person becomes a potential asset or threat requiring assessment. Your risk assessment protocols automatically upgrade. You stop trusting people just because they seem nice and start evaluating them based on their actions, their motivations, their strategic value, and their potential for betrayal. Under pressure, you begin viewing emotions not as personal experiences, but as tactical elements. Anger becomes a tool for creating compliance through intimidation. Fear becomes a method for controlling behavior through psychological pressure. Love becomes either a vulnerability to exploit or a resource to leverage. Your communication style evolves beyond normal social interaction. Every conversation serves multiple purposes simultaneously. On the surface, maintaining relationships and gathering routine information. Beneath the surface, testing loyalties, updating psychological profiles, and planting strategic concepts. You develop what intelligence agencies call operational paranoia. This isn't mental illness. It's professional awareness. The understanding that everyone has agendas, everyone gathers information, and everyone can be turned under the right circumstances. The transformation isn't optional, the voice warns. Once you see reality through operator eyes, you can't go back to civilian blindness. The question is whether you want to use these perceptions officially or continue operating without support. Accept our offer and everything changes about your capabilities. Right now, you're operating solo with limited resources and no backup. Join us, and you gain access to psychological warfare infrastructure that's been developing for decades. They describe the arsenal waiting for you. Advanced psychological profiling databases containing behavioral analysis on millions of individuals. Predictive modeling software that forecasts how specific people will react to targeted information campaigns. Real-time social network mapping that tracks influence patterns and information flow. Professional development opportunities that will enhance your natural abilities with cutting-edge techniques. Training programs, teaching advanced manipulation methods, enhanced interrogation protocols, and sophisticated influence operations. Most importantly, you gain access to other operators like yourself, people who understand how your mind works because their minds work the same way, colleagues who can appreciate your capabilities without feeling threatened by them. The phone call is ending, but before it does, they need your answer. Will you accept official activation as a psychological warfare operative? Or will you return to pretending you're just another civilian who happens to be unusually good at reading people? Understand what you're choosing between. Accept and you become part of something larger than yourself. Operations that shape global events. Missions that determine how conflicts resolve. Strategic campaigns that influence how millions think about critical issues. Decline, and you return to using elite-level psychological abilities for personal benefit only. Managing workplace politics while knowing you were built for something far greater. The moment you recognized your abilities, you crossed a line you can't uncross. You're no longer a civilian. You're a natural-born psychological warfare operative. Every friendship, every crisis, every conversation has been an unconscious field test, building your database of human behavior and perfecting your influence. Now you understand. Your mind will keep operating like this whether you accept official backing or not. The only choice left is simple. Continue alone without protection or step into your true identity and use your skills with full power and support. You start seeing hidden links everywhere. Cause and effect stretching across time. Strategic openings others can't even see. Your mind runs risk scenarios automatically, plans exits before threats appear, and reads language like code, tone, word choice, and rhythm revealing stress, deception, and intent. This isn't new, it's a memory awakening. Every relationship, crisis, and job was unconscious training, emotional intelligence, manipulation resistance, organizational control, camouflage, and resilience. Detachment isn't a flaw, it's armor. Alliances aren't random, they're strategic. You're not becoming a psychological warfare operative, you're remembering you've always been one. The call isn't recruitment, it's reactivation. Welcome back to your true purpose. Natural talent is about to meet unlimited resources. Your mission begins now. That's all for today. Dear Father, I pray for the growth of my faith. Help me trust you even when physical evidence is lacking. Let me believe in your perpetual presence, knowing you will never harm me. I understand that your thoughts for me are thoughts of prosperity and not harm to give me a good future. Thank you, gracious and eternal Father, for always listening to my voice. I offer up this prayer to you in the name of Jesus. Amen. Thank you, Jesus, for your love and provision. I am grateful for your presence in my life and the abundance you bring. If this video resonated with you, please like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with those who need to hear this message. Leave a comment below about your journey and how you are preparing for your own triumphant return. If you'd like to support our work, please consider contributing through Buy Me a Coffee. This helps us continually improve our content to offer you the best. The link to Buy Me a Coffee is in the description. No gift is too small. Whether it's a penny, a prayer, or a share, your generosity helps spread God's word and brings hope to others. Don't stop here. Watch our next video for powerful revelations about the signs that reveal you are the chosen one. We've enjoyed following this spiritual journey with you. Thank you for staying with us until the end. Keep shining brightly and embrace your destiny with courage. See you next time. Blessings to all the beautiful souls from the Enlighten Wisdom.